Alright, welcome to Yin Yoga, and tonight we're going to look at this area between the knee joint and the hip, the quads, the thighs, and these two joints are next door neighbors. One's a hinge joint and one's a ball and socket joint, so we have a complex series of joints here in this short area of the body that is connected by the thigh bone or the femur. All right, so a lot of muscular action, a lot of complexity in that small area of the body. So tonight, to start with, let's start with staff pose. So it's a seated pose with the legs extended in front, toes curled back, and you can sit on the edge of a blanket if you like to get a forward tilt in the pelvis, which is one of my favorite tricks in yoga. Having that little tilt in the pelvis just takes the strain out of the low back. And we have what's called knee extension. So the knee is extended here. It's open till its full capacity. Some people experience hyperextension here, so their kneecaps almost dip inwards. Other people have a slight bend. And just notice what's going on for you. If you have tight hamstrings here, it's going to affect the knee joint. If your knees are uncomfortable within this position, you can slightly prop them up. Bring your hands down beside you, palms face into the mat, fingers point towards your feet. If your arms are too short, take some blocks and do the same thing. So blocks or something underneath, that takes away a little bit of the strain to push that hands down. Think about your upper body posture here as you roll the shoulders back and down, and at the same time keep the palms grounded and rotate the elbows in and forward, so you're trying to have the elbow crease facing towards the feet as well. So there's a torque or a rotation in the lower arms there, and you'll feel your triceps engage. So you're trying to sit up tall while the hands push down. So it's an interesting tension through the elbow joint too. Elbows, like the knees, are a hinge joint, and these two joints right now are extended and open. Keep curling the toes back and start to push through the heel bones. And smile. Notice the muscle activations that are created in the top of the thigh, the hip flexor down to the knee joint through the quadricep. So we get a lengthening in the hamstring, a shortening in the quadricep to extend the knee joint. Shoulders keep rolling down. As you inhale, press down through the sit bones. As you exhale, let the top of the head float up like a helium balloon. And smile. So staff pose is one of the more challenging poses in yoga because of its isometric demand. Keep working each small fragment, shoulders back and down. Drive out through the heel bones. Exhale, release, and straddle the legs into a wide V shape. Still extending, still with the forward tilt in the pelvis. If the back and the knees tend to buckle up here, that's okay. You can support them with cushions or towels. Toes extended back. And draw a line with your hands from the inside of the knee joint right up to the groin and back again. So we're lengthening the adductors. So we're freeing up the knees from those tight adductors, but we're shortening the abductors, the outside ones. You'll notice I have a slight forward tilt in the pelvis. My spine is long, not rounding. Shoulders, elbows relaxed. There's several ways you can increase the stretch in the adductors. One is to simply bring a head down towards some blocks, or a bolster. So as the head comes towards the earth, you'll feel the increase in lengthening and stretch on the adductors. And supporting the head takes a lot of strain out of the upper body. So this is a nice way to sustain the pose without straining the neck. Often there's a tendency for the hands to travel down towards the feet. You can grab the shins or the toes. Relax the elbows and shoulders and slow the breath down. Slow the breath down. You can bring your chin onto the blocks if you prefer, rather than the forehead. It changes the tilt of the head. So if you have osteopenia or osteoporosis, you might prefer to support the chin so you're not rounding the back. You might like to explore what's it like to bring the forehead onto the blocks or the chin. Every now and then adjust by pushing out through the heel bones, maybe increasing the straddle of the legs, or lowering the head a little closer towards the floor. So you have all these options in order to grow into the stretch. And you'll start to feel it in the knee joints. After a while, you'll start to feel the knee joints responding and feeling the sensations around the ligaments and tendons where the muscle comes into that connection of bones, lower leg bones connecting with upper leg bones at the knee joint. This is a great time to meditate on sensation and breath. And these meditations on very mundane experiences of the body can be very transforming. We often skip over the contemplation or the direct experience of sensation and breath to excite the nervous system by thinking about the future or the past. Unfortunately, that kind of contemplation will push the nervous system into a state of fight and flight or freeze. Coming back to sensation and breath induces the relaxation response. Just notice how your knees are coping here right now with this. That's a lot of extension in the knees to start our practice. Slowly walk the hands up. If you have a strap handy, grab a strap. And you can bend that right knee in. And notice now we have a lengthening of the abductor and a shortening of the adductor. So we're lengthening that muscle from the outside of the thigh. Bring the strap around the extended leg on the left. Make sure the pelvis is tilted forward. So we've gone from full dragonfly to half dragonfly. Toes curled back. And facing the torso towards the extended leg, giving a slight twist. So the muscles that join the low back to the hips are slightly rotated now. So those muscles are getting a different extension here from what we just did. Relax shoulders and elbows, toes curled back. Walk your hands towards the foot, keeping the upper body nice and relaxed. Now if you take the inside arm, the right arm, and slowly walk it further down than the left arm, you amplify the sensations of twist in that lower right side of the back into the hip, and you'll feel that left hamstring extend a little more. For further amplification of sensation, you can start to lower the head towards the knee. Head to knee, forward fold on that left side. Three more breaths here. And then slowly walking the hands up, always using the slow release after extended stretches like that. Check in with the low back. And switch sides. Just notice how that knee on the left side feels after all that extension. We're giving it a flexion here, so we're changing the muscle groups around that left knee. Start with a modest twist and a modest hinge forward, making sure that the low back and the hips are okay on this side. If you have extremely tight hamstring on this side, you could prop the knee up a little bit with a cushion or a towel. Start to extend in your own time. And if you're going to extend that left hand closer to the foot than the right hand, see if you can rotate the base of the hips a little more first. So you bring that right hip bone back, left hip bone forward, so you feel the twist start in the spine before the thoracic twist. So you've got a little more stability there for that twist. Notice if there's any grimacing taking place. If there is in the upper body, dial it back a little bit. Let yourself grow into the stretch. Even though we're focused on the knee joint, there's a lot of other body parts here that are lengthening to support this, maybe head to knee pose. Or maybe you're keeping the head up to keep that spine a little more straight. And checking in with your breathing, nice rhythmic breath. Mona Lisa's smile are all good indications that you're in the right spot and not overdoing it. You might even open your eyes and look down at the patella, the kneecap, and notice how the quadricep muscle is activated here. We're shortening the quad to do this. Toes curled back, of course, so we're driving out through the heel bone. Five more breaths on this side. And slowly walk back. And prepare for cat and cow, but keep your strap handy. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Let's check out the spine after all that work. Knees are approximately 90 degrees. Let's start with the tailbone lift. Sacred cow, lift the chin. That might feel a little intense after all the forward folding. Tuck the tailbone, draw the navel in, round the back, drop the chin. And work the two with the breath. And then do some lateral cat and cow. Push that right hip or the left hip to the left. Look over the left shoulder. Contract the left side. Stretch the right side. And then the other side. So you're getting a little swagger going in the hips. And then try child pose, getting a little bit more strength and length in the quadriceps now. Extend the arms, bring the head down, support the head with whatever you need. Let's keep the arms extended for now. So if you're going to support the head, use a block or a towel or a blanket, or if you can reach the mat, by all means, reach the mat. So lengthening the top of the thigh for the sake of the knee. Turn the head to the left. Keep it supported so that right temple is supported. Switch the head to the right, supporting the left temple. Inhale, come up to tabletop. So the knees are open again at 90 degrees, and start to keep the knees at this angle. So the hips are going to stay on top of the knees, but start to walk your hands out into puppy stretch. And think of the goal that you're trying to bring your chin and chest onto the mat, but without dropping the hips. So it's not child pose. So it's a big work in the shoulders as you stretch out into puppy. No pressure on the knees. If your head is on the mat, try to bring your chest down more. You might have to lift your chin up a bit here to bring the chest up. For 3, 2, 1. Now drop the elbows. We're going to come forward and extend the knees as we come onto the chest and the belly. Elbows under shoulders close enough so the hands can reach the upper arms into Sphinx pose. Relax the shoulders. Notice how the knees feel. And then take the tip of your nose and draw the infinity sign very slowly. To the full range of motion that your neck feels good. Do 2 loops in each direction. So once you've done 2 infinity signs in one direction, change direction. And then pause and change the shape to the figure 8. So the vertical lift is going to be much bigger, not so much horizontal movement. And dropping the chin as close to the chest as you can. And notice how different the sensations feel in the neck and repeat 2 in the opposite direction. And then let's release the quad muscle a little more to take pressure off the knee joint. When we sit a lot, the knee joint gets tight, but when we stand a lot also, the quadricep gets short. So let's lean onto the right side of the body and hook the strap around your left foot, and then come back onto your belly with the strap strapped around the left foot. Left knee is on the ground, and you're grabbing the strap above your head where you can simply pull it towards you so the foot comes closer to the butt, and you should feel the quadricep get a nice release here. So it's a very modest stretch for the quad depending on how your quad is. And the upper body is at rest. So you have plenty of time to enjoy the lengthening of the quad. And notice whereabouts in your quad you're feeling this. Is it closer to the knee or the hip? Is it in the middle? What's the part of your quadricep that is tight? Continue holding the strap, this time just with the right hand. Bring the left hand back and see if you can find your foot at all. So to find the foot shortens the back muscles and lengthens the front muscles. So the hip flexor lengthens. And if you're holding the foot with the hand, you might feel a little more sensation here in the quad. And notice if the position of that sensation has shifted. Every now and then you can pull with a little more vigor just to feel that lengthening of the upper thigh muscle. Now we're going to switch hands. The left hand is going to take the strap and the right hand is going to seek out the foot and bring the foot a little bit diagonally across towards the right butt, and notice how that feels. Does it shift anything? Now we've been in this position for a while, so what we're going to do is apply a little bit of pressure with whatever grip you like. So some of you will be holding strap in hand, some just the strap, some with both hands, or one hand into the foot. Up to you. And start to push the foot against the hands. And as you do, lift the head and squeeze the shoulder blades. So your shoulders and chest start to come off the ground. And as you push the foot, the knee engages in that flexion. And you're in a back bend. You're in a variation of bow pose. Squeeze the shoulder blades, lift the chin, lift the knee. Exhale, release, and relax into crocodile. And notice the contrast between the sides of the body here. Bend both knees and notice the difference in the range of motion of left side, right side. Bend and straighten a few times, creating a little lubrication there. But noticing the side that you've stretched, how different it feels. All right, changing sides. So you might start on the left side of the body and strap up the foot. Come onto your belly, holding the strap over the head. And once again, starting with a nice relaxed amount of sensation and playing around with tension here. You can pull on the strap, you can walk your hands down the strap a bit, but you want to play with that tightness just above the right knee. Notice where in this quadricep is the most tight. Is it located in a similar position to the other one or different? If you get a cramp in the arch of the foot at any time, just curl the toes back towards the shin. And you can pretend you're fishing if you like. You can pull on the rod and then you can relax it. Just really play around, getting in, sinking into the sensations of this quad. Transfer the strap to the left hand. Right hand can reach back for the foot if it reaches. If it doesn't, that's fine. You might even grab the strap near the right foot. So your right hand is engaged as well, but it's pulling from behind you rather than overhead. And notice if that shifts the position of the sensation in the quad. If it gets too much, just back off a little bit. We don't have to hurry through this process. Let's switch hands. So the right hand takes over the strap above the head. The left hand reaches back. Can it find that right foot? And because it does, it pulls it at an angle towards the left side. So we're releasing the knee from different directions. And some of you are probably realizing at this point, this is really a back bend. The low back is shortening to compensate lengthening of the quadricep. And it's been a long back bend. Now play around here. You can grip the foot with two hands, one hand with the strap, without the strap. And just notice as the quadricep lengthens, you get a little more availability to increase the back bend. So we can start to lift the right knee up a little bit and push the right foot into the hands. As you squeeze the shoulder blades, you can lift the head and chest up. So the tighter you make the back, the shorter you make the back muscles, squeeze the shoulder blades, lift the knee, push the foot, you're going to lift up higher, chest is going to come up, shoulders up, chin up, smile, knee up, and feel this variation of bow pose. Three more breaths. Keep squeezing and shortening the back, low back, shoulder blades, squeeze, back of the head comes back. Release slowly into crocodile. Knee extends. And then bring the knees a little bit closer together and just do some soft butt kicks. One knee at a time. Bring the hands back under the chest, push up into tabletop. Once again, the knees are in that 90-degree neutral position. Cat and cow. And then we'll work the knees, working on the abductors lengthening through deer pose. So with deer pose, slide the left knee forward, left foot moves towards the right side of the mat, curl the toes of the right foot and walk that right knee back until you really start to feel the outer thigh on the left side get to that delicious stretch. So you can feel all this stretch is happening on that outer left thigh now. So this is really the only direction we haven't spent time on too much. Point the toes of the back foot. So we're still in that preparation of pigeon right now. Left hips elevated. And then lean onto the left elbow, left hip, taking the weight onto the left side. Back knee 90 degrees, front knee 90 degrees. So you get that nice 90 degree in both knees. Scoop the flesh from the left side of the belly. Bring the weight of the torso down onto that left thigh. So this is where we're going to open up that left outer thigh. Both elbows grounded. Now, if the right elbow doesn't ground, bring something underneath it. It could be a block, blanket, cushion, bolster. Make sure you feel that left outer thigh where the stretch sensation is. Is it towards the hip or is it towards the knee or both? Mine feels more intense towards the hip. It might be different for you. Make sure the head and neck is relaxed and loose. Keep sinking down onto the thigh. The weight of the torso is going to help lengthen that external muscle, the abductor. And when you're ready, you can come into your antlers, extending the arms, just like you did with puppy stretch. Really extend so you bring the torso down more until you find the Goldilocks spot on that left outer thigh. So we're getting right into the glute here as well. And you'll notice the knees are in a neutral position here, so there's not too much pressure on the knees. And I think this will illustrate if the butt is tight, if the glute is tight. If it's short, it's got to be pulling on the knee, on that abductor side, on that outer side of that left knee. So we're just taking pressure off the knee joint today through these slow, deliberate lengthenings. Let's walk the hands back for a moment, keeping the weight on that left hip. And play around with some twisting here just to see what happens to the front knee. So start to turn towards that back foot, twisting towards that back foot. And then twist the other way, walking the hands behind you. So again, I think in both of those twists, no real pressure to the knee, but definitely the hips feeling different stretches here. And then come back to neutral, come back to all fours, cat and cow. On the next inhale, slide the right knee towards the right wrist, right foot comes over towards the left side of the mat. Walk the left knee back, looking for that stretch sensation in pre-pigeon. Oh, feel that right outer thigh now. Notice how your right knee feels in this position. Remember, if there's any pain in the knee, just to back off. So just spending a little bit of time with the hip elevated for now. Because that does hit the glute in a slightly different way. Point the toes to the back foot, so the back leg is in hip, knee, and ankle extension. And when you're ready, lean the right elbow down, come onto the right hip, and bring both knees to neutral, 90 degrees. So the knees shouldn't have too much pressure here. Scoop the flesh from the right side of the belly and then lean over that front thigh until your elbow can ground onto something, whether it's a mat, whether it's a block, whether it's a cushion. Make sure both elbows are grounded. And adjust your torso so your torso is kind of sinking into that front thigh to give it a nice lengthened sense on the outside. Make sure the head and neck is loose, no tension in the upper body. And give yourself plenty of permission here. You can move ahead of me. You know where we're going with this. If you want to move ahead, you can. I like to acclimate a little more here. I've been playing some pickleball lately, so glutes get tight. This feels good for the glutes. And I see a lot of people playing pickleball who have knee issues. They have their knees strapped. So while strapping the knees can be helpful for short term, these muscles around the knee, the quads, hamstrings, adductors, abductors, they all need to be constantly strengthened and lengthened. Let's walk the hands out when you're ready. Come into deer pose, full deer pose. The further the hands go out, the more weight bears down into that right thigh. Five more breaths here. Remember, as you come up gently. use the hands to lift you up, no low back. Spend a bit of time here, check out your knees, how they feel. If you like a little twisting here, you can twist towards the back foot. You can twist the other way. And then prepare to come down onto your back. Bring the feet to the top of the mat. If you need head support, adjust head support. Let's bring the knees together into TP pose firstly, just checking in on the low back. So we'll go through all the different ranges of motion with the knees here. Open the knees out to the side, feet together. Arching the low back, noticing how the inner thighs feel. The inner thighs might feel a little tight after that deer pose. Extend the left leg and keep that right knee bent into tree pose. Feel that left knee extended. It's like we're doing a little knee check-in towards the end of practice. All the different ways the knee can be opened or closed. Switch sides. Right leg extend, left knee bent tree pose. Stand both feet on the mat and bring that right knee over the left knee into floppy shin. Check that right knee out. Now pick up both knees and hug both knees towards you. Reach down towards the shins, grab the ankles or feet, and just hold floppy shin in towards you by the feet. And for those who can, I want you to arch your back, lift your chin into the air, so you're arching the neck, and drop your knees down towards the mat. Keep holding the feet and adjust your shoulders. So it brings a different stretch into the knees, even though they're flexed there as the front of the hips extend forward towards the mat. Check that out for your knees. And then release the feet. Stand the feet on the mat. Cross the opposite knee over floppy shin. And pick up both knees in towards your ribs. Squeeze them here. You'll feel that in the glute. And if you need to just stay here, you can. Otherwise, slide the hands down to grab feet or ankles and pull them in. Oh. So we're hitting the knees in all kinds of angles right here at the end of practice. Start the arch, lift the tailbone, walk the shoulder blades towards the hips, and see if you can drop those knees towards the top of your mat. You might lift the chin to arch the back a little more. And feel that through the knees. Whoo. And when you're ready, release the legs into Shavasana. If your knees are sensitive at this point in Shavasana, you can prop them up with a cushion or a bolster so they're not in full extension. And in today's exploration of the knees, we can draw our own conclusions about the relationship between the knees and the rest of the body. My conclusion is that when the knees lock up, when the knees are tight, the rest of the body is tight. When the knees let go, the rest of the body, particularly up to the navel, the hips can let go. And once again, tuning into your needs tonight. No pun intended. If you want to stay in Shavasana, do so. And if you're ready to transition gently. You might even try to come into Thunderbolt pose, just to check in with the knees. If you're in Thunderbolt, you might use 1 or 2 blocks underneath you if that's preferable. And bring your attention down to those bent knees. Notice how they feel. And let's bring our hands together in gratitude for the knees tonight. Namaste. Thank you, folks.